Welcome back to Creating Stuff with Jim. Now, I got another project to work on today. Actually, it's going to turn into multiple projects. I've got some work I got to do to this trailer right here. Belongs to a friend of mine, and if you recognize that green F-250 right there, I'll put a link in the video where I actually installed a multi-mount winch on the front of that truck. You see, I did that for him also, so I'll put a link to the video somewhere up in here. Go check that out if you want to. But back to what we're working on at present hand is this is a 22-foot tilting trailer, and the biggest thing we're going to do is I'm going to convert it from a manual tilting trailer to a power. So I'm going to add hydraulics onto this, so at a press of a button you can lower the deck or raise the deck. So tell you what, let me go ahead and get this thing backed into the shop and get it set up, and I'll give you a closer look at what I'm going to do. So let's get this thing moving. All right, now that I got the trailer in the shop, I'm actually working in the big bay of my shop. You're probably used to seeing stuff where you see my lift rack and my plasma table. All that stuff is all the way on the other side of the shop. This is the large bay of my shop, so it's very, very nice. So I can get something large like this trailer, which is 22 feet long. I can get it in and I can close the door. I can work in here comfortably. So anyways, besides that, I got the trailer set up. Now we're going to take a closer look at the first. We're doing a couple things to this trailer, but right now we're focusing on making it a power tilting trailer. So I'm going to show you what we got, and give you the game plan of what's going on. So let's take a look. All right, first thing I want to point out is when I brought it in here, I actually set it up on these plastic ramps. These things, you could think of, they're chintzy, cheesy, whatever. They work great, because that's actually honeycomb plastic, and I've actually had a Freightliner ambulance on these. Actually, this one's a little bent because I actually had a fire truck on it. So, but I won't do that again. But these things work great. I did this so I could get a little bit more room so when I'm crawling around underneath. So, and one other thing I'll point out real quick is, once again, as you see, it's a tilting trailer, is back when I had my knee surgery and I was laid up, I designed this. When I was sitting on the computer and I couldn't do anything, or I was sitting around and couldn't do anything, I got the computer out and I designed this fair lead. All I did was I just bought a regular roller fair lead that was like 20 bucks, took the rollers out, and then cut all this stuff out, welded together. Unfortunately, I don't have any videos of all that. Once again, that was during my knee surgery. So computer work was done when I couldn't walk, and then once I could walk and start moving around, that's when I built it for him. And like I said, this trailer belongs to a buddy of mine, and when I was laid up with my knee surgery and I couldn't walk, he without hesitation, he came down to help me out in my time of need. So those are the good friends you got to have. So, but that works really well. And then to go with that, I put a receiver mount on the front of the deck for the winch. So you can actually run the winch cable, put a multi-mount winch there, cable up over the top, down the deck. So that works. So far he's used it once, and he's like, and it works absolutely great. And now we're taking this trailer one step further, and like I said, this is going to be a power tilting trailer. So with that being said, is how this works right now is we're always going to maintain this lock, but you got to unlock it, and then you actually have to push the deck down by hand. And then down here you have a hydraulic valve right here that you can actually turn this to lock the deck in a certain position, or you can crack it open to cushion it, so to slow it down. So that's kind of cumbersome. So I'm going to set this up so press of a button, deck's going to move. I think it's going to be fun. You will still have to use the manual lock. We're not getting rid of that. But so now, just to take a look at what we got under here, is basically, luckily it comes with a hydraulic cylinder. We're going to reuse that. But this second cylinder, this cylinder is used as a reservoir. I don't know why they use that versus using a tank, but anyways, I didn't build the trailer, somebody else did. So basically, this is going to go away, and in its place, we're going to put a hydraulic pump. And we're going to put the hydraulic pump, we're going to mount it, I'm going to mount it right around in that hole over there. And then I'm going to put a battery box right here. So that's the plan. If I'm lucky, I might not even have to get new hoses. Those hoses might reach. But if we got to get new hoses made, we'll get new hoses. So, but that's what we got going on. And this is the hydraulic pump that going to be using. It's a double action hydraulic pump, meaning it's going to use hydraulic power to raise the bed and to lower it. So it's not like my dump bed insert in my F250 where it powers up and then gravity brings it down. It's gonna run power both ways. So, all right, time to stop this yakking and let's get to work. Well, there you have it. The brace, the mount for the hydraulic pump is all welded in. It's all painted up. And just remember, whenever you weld anything, put the best looking weld where no one can see it. That's a tip from me to you. So, well, now that that's done, time to move on to mounting the battery box. I am back, and the paint down on the bracket for the hydraulic pump is more or less dry, and now getting ready to make the bracket for the battery box. I've already done a lot of cutting, kind of boring. I've done it all before, so nothing real special. This bracket is going to work more or less identical as a power steering pump, except we're going to have a wider base just because the battery is heavy and it is wider. So like I said, so I'm going to do a nice wide base. The only reason I'm using the 2x4 tubing versus the 2x2 is because I had to buy a length for another part of this project, which you haven't seen yet. So I had a lot of extra, and I normally don't use this stuff, so you know what? I'm going to use it for the battery box. But it's going to be the same thing. You're going to have a bracket that's going to weld onto the cross member, and although it may look weird because I have a big wide one, two narrow ones, but the big reason is these brackets had a farther drop than that one, and the plate I have was, the dimensions were not big enough where I could get it in one piece, so I had to do 2 small ones. But it'll be just fine. It'll work out okay. So tell you what, let's quit yakking about it. Let's do some work. So anyways, the reason why I'm doing this overhead butt weld is just because it's a little too tight. The deck, there's no clearance to put it here, because when the deck swings down, it will be right here. There won't be enough room. So I've got a deck on the back side, so this is just about the easiest spot to put it. So we'll just do a butt weld. Also, and if you saw this piece lying around, this is a cheater, because I can put this here to help me locate this next bracket. Then I can weld it on if I wanted to. Once again, this piece has its intended purpose. Okay, well, I got everything tacked in. Unfortunately, these braces here are still loose, but we're gonna leave them loose for the time being, just because I'm gonna test fit the battery box, drop the bed, and see if it fits. So I'll tell you what, let's keep on getting it. All right, I got all the bracketry for the battery box welded in. Pretty happy with it. The most critical weld I have are these under here, being the butt welds, but they went in pretty good. I'm pretty happy with them. So, well, right now I want to let this cool off a little bit before I put some paint on it. So now I think I'm going to tackle the part of this and make a mess and break the hydraulics loose. So, and once again, as I said earlier in the video, public safety announcement. It's braced up so it can't come down. So I can't stress that enough. So tell you what, let's get to it. Alright, I am now under the trailer. Actually, I'm sitting beside it, but now we're going to break the hydraulics loose, so doing this, be prepared to make a mess. So, I have a drain pan, I have a bucket behind me, and the two hoses I need is this one right here, and then I will also need that one right there. Those are the two hoses going to the cylinder. I need those, everything else will not be used. So let's make a mess. Actually, I'll turn that off. I won't have any fluid out of that, so that'll actually work. So, oops. Alright, had to wrestle with that a little bit. I got her. Now for the other one. Well, that one wasn't tight. Oh well, as long as it doesn't leak. That's all I care about. Damn it. I hate it. Whenever I expect to make a mess, I don't. So, oh well. I guess I'm ahead of the game. So, alright. So now I got these off. I just have to see what kind of fittings I need to hook these lines up to the hydraulic pump. But more or less once I get those fittings figured out, and all honestly, I'll probably get the hydraulic pump installed. So, alright. Well, I'll tell you what. Let me slide out of here, and we'll see where we go from here. Well, there's another step done. I got a coat of paint on the framework for the battery box, and now I just got to let that dry. Actually, I think I'm going to go run and get a bite to eat for lunch, but since I made a mess of, well, tried to make a mess, didn't make that big of a mess as I usually do, but anyways, I just need to get a fitting or two. These fittings came with the hydraulic pump, where this is actually a JIC fitting, a JIC. This is actually very common. So I just need to get like two 90s, and it should just be able to bolt right up, put some fluid in it, it should work. So anyways, so I'm going to go have some lunch, run some errands, and I'll bring you back, and hopefully that paint should be dry enough where I can start to mount that battery box, and we'll keep on going. So I'll see you when we get back. Well, I am back from lunch, and I went ahead and bolted the hydraulic pump in for the last time. I just did that real quick, and also I ended up running some hydraulic lines, which I still have to zip tie these up, so don't crucify me just yet for this. So, and although this fitting went straight into that straight adapters that I showed you earlier, the other side did not have the room. And unfortunately, I thought we were past all of this out of stock stuff. So normally they make fittings like this that are 90 degrees. That's all I was looking for. Didn't have anything. So I had to make up one of these. I got two just in case. That's just how I do things. Because if I buy one, I'll need two. If I buy two, I'll need one. So this was the better of the two options. So I just had them put a female JIC on a 90, crimp it 6 inches of hose to a male JIC. So that's unfortunately this is a whole lot of stuff to do something very little. But unfortunately, they were out of stock, and it'll be a couple of days before. Actually, this is on the weekend, so my real hose shop I normally go to isn't open right now, and they won't open until Monday, 2 days from now. So, anyways, I just feel like making progress, so this is what you got to do. So, well, now I'm going to go ahead and start. We're going to get set up and drill and mount the battery box to the frame I made. Paint's dry enough where I can work on it, so drill and mount the battery box. Let's get after it. Alright, I got the box bolted down to the frame we put in, or I put in. And I just dropped the battery in. It's a 31 group screw top battery. The screw lugs make it very easy for hooking up battery cables. And these are the batteries you find in tractor trailers and heavy equipment, stuff like that. Generally you find 2 or 3 of them, but this will have more than enough power to run these hydraulics. So tell you what, let me get some battery cables hooked up. Then we got to put some hydraulic fluid in the tank. We'll see what happens. All right, well, I had the camera off. Luckily I had a few battery cables lying around. Like I said, this is my ground. Down is grounded the motor, and then I have another one hooked to the solenoid on the other side. And oops. And if you look at the end of this cable, yes, I'm recycling battery cables because copper cable is expensive. So now we're going to connect it. I haven't let any smoke out. That's a good thing. And also, please do not judge the main course on the hors d'oeuvres. I don't have, I will clean up all the wiring and hoses, but right now I just want to make sure this thing works, which there's no reason why it shouldn't, but once again, make sure this works. Now, I don't have hydraulic fluid in it yet. Let's see if we get action. Wow, all right. We got action. So now I got to fill it with hydraulic fluid and go from there. Luckily, I don't need to put a whole lot of fluid in, otherwise this would be a pain in the butt. But if I did have to put a lot of fluid, all I had to do is take a board off the deck and I get right through from the top. Which, with that being said, please, whenever you set your hydraulic tank level, make sure all your cylinders are retracted, which, as you can tell, this one's extended. So, I'm just being mindful not to fill it all the way up. I'm only going to probably fill this maybe about quarter, maybe half. Like I say, because I got to fill the, well, probably closer to quarter. But I'm going to do this a little bit at a time, just to make sure I don't have a mess on the floor, which I'll probably do anyways. All right, I have got the hydraulic level topped up. I've got everything bled out, and it seems to be working pretty good. So here we go. There you have it. That works pretty good. So, well, nowhere near done with that, but nowhere near done. So still got some more work to do. So let's get back to it. I am back out in the shop. Unfortunately, it was just a fraction of a second for you, but I had to work a night shift at my part-time job. So anyways, so out here bright first thing in the morning, working on the tilt trailer, which the last time you saw, got the hydraulics working, huge step forward. And here's evidence that this is not scripted. I don't have people doing the work for me, obviously. Look at that mess. Fortunately, that's the way I work, because I have a saying: if you're going to make an omelet, you got to break some eggs. I've been saying that for years. So anyways, and we got the hydraulics working, and the reality of it is, if you were a lot of trailer shops or whatnot, or trailer manufacturers, you'd more or less leave it at that. But I want to add a few touches that I think would be very important, and because we're still working on. We just did the battery cables, but we're gonna stay on the battery cables a little bit. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna install this. This is a jump start post, meaning, and the reason I'm putting this in is because the convenient spot to put that battery out of the way is underneath the bed. So now, but when the bed is down and locked, for whatever reason, if that battery is dead, it's a little hard to get the bed up. So what I'm going to do is I've already cut these mounting tabs up, cut the mounting tabs out, and what what I'm going to do is I'm going to mount this right here. I'm going to weld the tabs to the frame of the trailer. This will bolt on, and then we'll have the battery cables will run from here down to the battery. So basically, if the battery under the bed goes dead, all you gotta do is hook jumper cables up to this, and you can power the bed, raise it up, then you can change the battery. So like I said, this costs a little bit. Well, actually, this really wasn't that expensive. The most expensive part is that right there, the copper wire, which luckily I had some lying around. That's long enough. I just got to put new ends on it. So yeah. So that's the next step, is we're going to put jump start lugs on it, so you can always get power to the battery without having to crawl underneath. So, all right, let's get to it. Alright, I got the tabs all welded on. I got that cooled off. I put some paint on them. And then I went ahead and took the jump start lugs, and I got the battery cables hooked to the back of them already. So now I'm going to bolt this on. Then I'm going to start running the cables up underneath the trailer all the way back to the battery. Let's get to it. Well, as it turns out, I had just enough battery cable to reach this battery. I couldn't ask for any more. So I got to clean this terminal up. I got to cut this cable off, put a new terminal on the end of that, hook it up, and the jump start lugs will be done. Let's get after it. Alright, I got the new ring terminal in on the positive lead. Everything's all hooked up for right now. And let's just go double check this jump start lug, make sure it works. That's where you would hook your jumper cables up to. And basically I'm just going to take my meter, and we're showing positive, whoops, if I hold it on there right, positive 12 volts. So they're working and they're hooked up correctly. That's excellent. So all right, now that we got the jump start lug finished, like I said, that's a small touch that I like to do to build a better product. I like to do things, I like to go that extra effort, that extra distance. So, but now we're on to the next one. I mean, we're making some progress, but we're not done. We still got more to go. On most dump trailers or power tilt trailers that are made, they all have this corded remote. It works, but 9 times out of 10, there's a little bracket on the back. They'll mount it and it's going to stay permanently attached to this trailer, and it's going to be out in the weather all the time. I don't like that. So what I'm going to do is this is a 4-prong trailer plug, and I'm going to install this right there. And so basically, and then this other plug is going to go on the cord to the remote. So by doing it that way, the remote does not have to stay out in the weather. It doesn't have to stay on the trailer. You can unplug it, put it in the cab of your truck, and pull it out when you need it, so it doesn't get all weather beaten. So anyways, and I still have another trick we're doing after this, but you know what? You got to keep watching if you want to see it. So, but now if you ever got nervous about cutting something brand new, this box is hardwired, and we're going to cut this so we can make our cord. But first and foremost, before you do any of that, you need to verify that it works, because when you modify something, if you don't test it first, if it was broke before you started, then you're going to be chasing your tail. So ever since the battery's all hooked up, we're going to try this real quick just to make sure that still works. So all right, the pump works in both directions. I did not remove my safety block, but I just wanted to verify that the pump worked in both directions, which it does. So that's good. So now I'm going to disconnect the battery, and we're going to cut the harness and go from there. And I'm going to have to make a new harness to go from the pump all the way up to the plug. So let's get to it. All right, battery's disconnected. Well, here goes, cutting a brand new harness. All right, just like I expected. There's 4 wires in there. So now I'm going to go ahead and get some wires so I can make this harness. All right, now that I got the plug on the end of the remote, now I want to go ahead and get the wiring harness made to go from up here all the way back to there. So I made notes of what wire color does what, and I did not I gotta open that plug back up and make notes on where I put everything. So I'll tell you what, I'm gonna do that real quick, and then we're gonna get some wire and make a harness. Let's see. Black, red, blue, and I can't believe I have not been into the white wire yet. Alright, wire. Yeah, I've wrestled with split wire loom for a lot of years. Recently, a friend of mine bought a set of these, and they actually work very well. I'll show you here in a second. All right, I'm going to show you how these little loom tools work. Best I can. I don't have my tripod over here right now, but do the best I can. So to start off with it, you'll notice that these things twist, so you can actually insert it into the wire like so, twist it. Now it is captured. Oops, I got it on, I'll put it on backwards. All right, then you take your split loom. Oh, sorry, I had it on right to begin with. What do I know? Twist it like that. Take your split loom with the opening there. Slide it right in there like so. Let me just think what I'm going to do. That right there. And normally if you're doing it two-handed, it's a little easier. But like I said, this isn't going that bad for the sheer fact that I'm doing it more or less one-handed and holding the camera with the other. So then at this point I'm just going to go ahead and cut the loom off, since that is as much as I'm going to loom. Pull that through, rotate that, pulled out of the wires. That was a whole lot easier than doing it the old-fashioned way. That's some good stuff. So all right, well, we got that made. Now we gotta keep working. Got to wire it into the plug and mount the plug. Let's get to it. All right, I got the harness all wired into this plug. Now we're going to just use a simple hole saw. Going to drill a hole right through here, and then we'll slide the harness in, secure the plug, and run the harness. Now also a note: anytime you never drill blind. And when I say that, don't drill blind, is make sure you know what's behind it. Where I can reach behind it and I can feel what's back there, which actually I can already feel I got. That's damn it. Unscripted. I'm definitely anyways, drilling blind is just drilling without looking. Basically I can feel back there, and I can feel that I have a wire and a clip back there, so I am going to have to shift this one way or the other. So unfortunately they screwed me on that deal. All right, let me get that wire out of that clip so I'm not going to damage that wire. Unfortunately, I'm going to have to offset this just a little bit. I wanted it right in the middle, but since I got something in the way right there, I'm going to have to put it in right there. So it is what it is sometimes. Well, definitely missed the clip on the backside, so that was a good thing. And I pulled the wire out of the way so I didn't damage the wire. So doing good on that. And I will tell you from experience, back when I worked on fire trucks, is anytime I did mounting, equipment mounting in compartments, I'd actually take my bore scope and I'd actually look behind the wall just to make sure I wasn't drilling into anything. Because firemen have done things on their own sometimes. I'm a fireman now, but anyways, they would just drill to mount a hole, and they drill into the wiring harness or air lines or anything, cause problems. So like I said, never drill a hole blind. All right, well, there you go. On to the next one. All right, now when doing something like this, I just have the wires twisted together. I want to make sure everything's wired up first before I do all the final connections. So once again, I still have my safety brace in place, and oh, no sparks. That's good. Hook it back up. All right, we're all hooked up, no sparking. All those wires are apart. Let's go see if the remote works. That's up. Excellent. That's down. All right, everything works the way it's supposed to. That's excellent. So now we can unplug it, and this is loose. So, and now I have one more trick up my sleeve. So we're getting really close to finishing the electrical part. I still got a couple other projects that are going to be on another video, but let me just go ahead and show you what I'm doing next for this. So hold on a second. All right, here is what I'm the last trick up my sleeve for this. Well, I still have other items I have to do to this, but basically what this is this is a wireless winch remote. Bought it on Amazon for 18 bucks. So so rather than controlling a winch, I'm going to set it up to control that hydraulic pump. Now, if you've watched one of my other videos, I'll throw a link in there real quick. I actually use one of these on my dump bed, and it works great. But that one is a little bit simpler than this one, because that pump is a single action hydraulic pump, meaning it powers up, gravity down. So you just need to energize one wire or another. The difference about this one is we have to basically, you have one solenoid for up, you have one solenoid for down. Those are the hydraulic valves. Then you have a solenoid to actually run the motor. So whether you go up or down, this has to get energized both times. So we're going to do a little trickery. Basically, because all this remote switch does is basically it's hooked up to a power and ground. We're going to hook up to the battery, and then we're going to actually have to use diodes to hook the output of this so it runs the pump accordingly. So tell you what, I'm going to go ahead and start putting all this together, and when I have something interesting, hooking the diodes up and this, that, the other, I'll bring you back. Oh, also, and if you wanted the secret of my success, some people say, Jim, how do you get so smart? And like, after I joke around and say, well, the glasses make me look more intelligent than what I am, is I read the instructions. That's I hate to say, that's the method of my madness. So, all right, well, let me do some wiring. Well, this looks like a bird's nest, which once again, don't judge the main course on the hors d'oeuvre. I still need to clean all the wiring up, and as I said, there's a few things that still have to do, but for proof of concept, I think this is like really cool. Look, Ma, no wires. I think that's pretty cool. What do you think? I need to take a break for lunch. I need to fix a few things on the wiring, and I'll show you what I did. And I got to weatherproof some stuff. I think it'll be a neat way you'll like. So, tell you what, I'll bring you back in a few minutes. As you can tell, I still haven't cleaned up my wiring yet. But right now, I just want to show you the secret of how this works. Is down here, you can see, may or not be able to see, I actually have two diodes. And basically what those two diodes do, think of them like one-way check valves. So basically this yellow wire and white wire are the power to energize the solenoids for up and down. Well, that motor has to get energized at the same time. So basically this check valve lets electricity come here, go to the valve, then go down here and go to the motor. Now, this other check valve, it won't let it come back up and energize that other solenoid. So basically, that's how I got this to work. And now, none of this is weatherproof. And basically, now I want to do something so I can weatherproof it. It's not going to be in the rain, but like I said, this trailer is going to be outside its entire life. Even though it's covered up by the deck and inside the battery box, you still have to protect it from the weather, from moisture and everything. So now we are going to switch over to arts and crafts mode. So basically what I'm going to do, because all this stuff has to be insulated, is basically this is just a little container that you buy electrical connectors from like the auto parts store for like your ring terminals, butt splices, such. That, there I go, dropping it. And I'm going to use that to as a mold, and then I'm going to use a hot glue gun and fill this up with hot glue. That will keep everything separated, and then it should also keep it weather tight, somewhat weather tight, while it's inside the battery box. So, all right, arts and crafts time. All right, that should be enough. Tell you what, now I just gotta let this cool and pull this plastic off. And oh yeah, and see how this turns out. Well, here's a block of hot glue. Not the prettiest, but it works. All that should be weatherproof. So now all I got left to do is clean up all the wiring, the hoses, and more or less need to go test it. So this part's is getting real close to being done. So clean it up. We'll go test. Well, here you have it. Other than having to clean some hydraulic oil off that pump, I think I'm having an issue with that pump. I don't know yet. If I do, I'll see about getting it warranted. But for right now, for the most part, it's working. I think I mean, every now and then when you see me work to bed, you see it drift up a little bit. There could be some air in the cylinder, but it's still pushing the hydraulic pump backwards. So that's it. I may end up getting that warranted, but for right now it works. But I got all my wiring cleaned up. It actually looks kind of decent, not too bad. I did remember one final thing. I ran the 2 wires all the way up to the trailer plug, so when this trailer is plugged into the truck, that battery gets charged. So I just about forgot about that, but that's done. So the tilt bed side of it looks like it's 100% done, except I just got to go test it. So let's get the truck hooked up. Let's go test it. Well, got the trailer outside. Now for the dry run to see how it works. I'm looking forward to it. I think this is going to work really well. I got my tractor over there. I'm going to drop the bed, put the tractor on it, and then lower it down. Let's see how this works. Well, that looks like that worked pretty good. Tell you what, let me just go ahead and take it off the back, and this part of the project is going to be pretty much done. And there you have it. It works. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video on converting a tilting trailer to power tilting. So although I'm done with this part of this project, I'm not done with this trailer. So I've got future episodes. I got a couple more episodes coming with stuff I'm doing to this trailer you might be interested in. So if you want to see those, hit the subscribe button down below. And I really appreciate you watching and everybody who comments. Also, there is one thing I forgot to add. It's about the detail. I forgot one thing. I'm going to put a clip in here that it's all about the details. So I actually used the label maker and relabeled the wireless winch remote so it corresponds to up and down. So it's the small things that count. So, but once again, so I'm finished with this project. This is working great. I'm very happy with it. I know the owner of the trailer is going to be very happy with it. So anyways, so I'm going to leave it at that. So be creative. I'll see you on the next one.